Well, this is definitely the least Jesse Eisenberg's ever talked in a movie. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. As part of my coverage of the 2024 Sundance Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2024 surreal comedy nature documentary, Sasquatch Sunset, which will be released in theaters on April 12th. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content, like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Sasquatch Sunset stars Jesse Eisenberg, Riley Keough, Christophe Zajac-Denek, and Nathan Zellner, and was co-directed by brothers David and Nathan Zellner. Presented as a nature documentary, it follows a family of Sasquatches over the course of 1 year. People like to lament about the lack of originality in film these days. With the prevalence of franchises, sequels, remakes, and reboots, it's understandable. People crave something different. They say they want original, unique films. Well, Sasquatch Sunset certainly fits that bill. This is truly unlike anything else. Detailing a year in the life of a family of Sasquatches, this bizarre, meandering slice-of-life story plays out like an observational nature pseudo-documentary. I say pseudo-documentary rather than mockumentary, because there's nothing mock about this. There's some comedic framing and situations at times, but this isn't a film that's attempting to make fun of its squatchian subjects or its own documentary style. There are no knowing winks at the camera here, no meta qualities. It's just a strange, dialogue-free Sasquatch nature documentary played straight for 89 minutes. There's quite a bit to discuss and unpack with this film, but I want to start by talking about the technical aspects, because they're surprising. I mean, I realize how ridiculous this film sounds. A nature documentary about Sasquatches? It sounds like the kind of thing a bunch of kids would throw together in their backyard and film on an old camcorder. Or, at best, some low-budget asylum film that ends up airing on the Sci-Fi Channel. But this is a remarkably cinematic and technically accomplished film. Like I said, the documentary style is played straight, and this looks like something that could air on Animal Planet or the Discovery Channel. The cinematography and nature videography is genuinely beautiful. And then we've got the Sasquatches themselves. Again, this isn't a movie that's trying to make fun of itself, and so the hair and makeup is exceptionally good. I suppose you could also say costumes, but given that these characters are Sasquatches, that technically still falls under hair? Maybe? In either case, the attention to detail is remarkable and feels authentic. Or at least as close as you can get to that given the cryptid subjects. In fact, it's often a little overly authentic, anatomically speaking, but really, there's never a point where you look at these characters and don't truly believe that they're actual Sasquatches. It's completely transformative. The actors disappear under the hair and makeup, to the point where it takes quite a while to work out who's actually who, based mostly on the expressiveness of their eyes. I don't know if the Academy would ever consider a film like this, but I'm telling you right now, this absolutely deserves an Oscar nomination for makeup and hairstyling. With regard to the story and content, Sasquatch Sunset is a very unusual mix. The film's broken up into 4 parts, though these are largely indistinguishable from one another apart from the changing dominant weather and on-screen titles indicating season. It's all very slice of life and meandering, as we just observe these Sasquatches go about their daily life over the course of a year. Especially towards the beginning, it's more than a little repetitive, as these Sasquatches forage for food, sleep, travel, and mate. But the longer we observe them, the more we start to see emerge from their behavioral patterns. And as the year progresses, this family encounters unique scenarios that force them to alter their routine. And through these alterations and resulting interactions, we end up getting something unexpectedly poignant. So where exactly does the unusual mix part of this come into play? Well, all of this slice of life poignancy is intermixed with a barrage of gross out humor and bodily fluids. Feces, urine, and lactated milk flow in unrivaled quantities, and there is far more Sasquatch sex than you could ever imagine or ever want to see. There's also some comparatively benign stuff thrown in there too, like nose picking and sniffing of various smelly things. Although always presented in a simple, matter-of-fact documentary way, most of these moments are played for humor, as a result of situational context or story framing. I gotta say, there are quite a few reaction shots throughout this that are entertaining, and even some of the gross-out moments are chuckle-worthy the first few times in a what the hell am I watching kind of way. but it does start to wear thin after a while. So on one hand, it's perfectly understandable that this film had so many press screening walkouts. I mean, it was certainly the most walkouts I've seen at a Sundance screening, and the second most walkouts I've ever seen, following only the Pool Man press screening at TIFF last year. But on the other hand, to negatively reduce this film to its scatological components is unfair. Animals mate, they produce urine and feces. Mammals give birth and lactate. Animals, including humans, do all sorts of gross things and have weird reactions and behavioral displays. So most of these grosser aspects are things that animals, especially apes, naturally do. It's just framed a little more comedically here than in a typical nature documentary. Now, I will admit that I'm probably a little more inclined to like and appreciate a film like this than most people. Not only was I an Animal Planet kid who grew up watching nature documentaries, but I'm also now a biologist who specifically focuses on mammalian behavior. So yeah, the comedic side of the grosser moments and excess of bodily fluids wears thin, but the mere presence of them didn't really faze me, or even strike me as odd. So I found the animal behavior aspects of this fascinating. The way they walked and moved, the various ways they communicated, grunts and growls and tree knocking, their rituals and reactions to death and man-made things like roads and music. I mean, obviously we're dealing with a cryptid species here, but most of this behavior is based on apes, combined with Bigfoot lore. It's creative, and you can see that the filmmakers actually put a lot of effort and thought into it. Really, the same can be said of the movie as a whole. I mean, it's amazing that a film like this was even made, let alone given a theatrical release. This certainly won't be a film for everyone. Frankly, it won't be a film for many people, but it's absolutely a unique and one-of-a-kind experience. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. The biggest pro is the unique premise. This will most certainly not end up on the pro side for everybody, but I thought this was a really unique idea and presentation style. Making a Sasquatch nature documentary sounds so ridiculous, and it is, but it's also strangely sincere. No dialogue, no narrator, just an observational glimpse into the behavior and lives of a family of Sasquatches. Talk about a weird and unique film. Pro number 2 has got to be the makeup. I realize that this movie is going to be reductively referred to as the Sasquatch sex movie, and that's all that it's likely going to be remembered for, but I'm not being facetious when I say that I hope it receives some Oscar recognition next year. The makeup and hair is that good. The 4 actors are completely transformed, and even though we're talking about a mythological cryptid species here, the work done feels so believably authentic that you never once think, oh, I'm watching people dressed up as Sasquatches. No, you're just watching an actual family of Sasquatches, pure and simple. The third pro is the cinematography. This is another aspect that's gonna seem strange when you inevitably hear about all the Sasquatch sex and gross out elements of the movie, but it truly is a beautifully shot film. The landscapes and vistas, the continuous shots of authentic looking Sasquatches walking among redwoods or along rivers, it's all shot like a nature documentary, and there are chunks of this film that would feel right at home as part of planet Earth. On the con side, the only issue is the excessive reliance on juvenile humor. This movie has a lot of what can be described as gross out humor. This ranges from nose picking to feces flinging to awkwardly extended sequences of Sasquatch sex. One cannot prepare for the copious amounts of bodily fluid on display in this film. Things like mating and lactation are obviously fairly standard parts of a nature documentary, so the presence of these behaviors isn't really the issue. It's the comedic way in which they're framed. Some of it is certainly chuckle-worthy, if only because of the sheer ridiculousness, but its pervasiveness throughout the film does start to wear thin after a while. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Sasquatch Sunset or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Sasquatch Sunset 3.5 out of 5 paws. I have to admit, this is a film that's very difficult to rate, if only because there's nothing else like it. Its reliance on bodily fluids for comedy wears out its welcome, but the fascinating emulation of animal behavior, the unique pseudo-documentary style, and the excellent makeup design make for a weird and often humorous movie-watching experience. I would recommend Sasquatch Sunset to people who want something weird and unique. If you're tired of superhero movies and franchise films, this is definitely a movie that'll give you something different. This will not be a film for everybody. It honestly probably won't be a film for many people. But if an odd Sasquatch nature documentary sounds interesting to you, you might be among the few who will appreciate it. If you liked Sasquatch Sunset, I would recommend Harry and the Hendersons. As the best Bigfoot movie out there, and one of the only Bigfoot movies out there, this is probably an obvious recommendation. But this family comedy is equal parts entertaining and heartfelt, and much like Sasquatch Sunset, features some impressive Sasquatch hair and makeup. If you want another unusual comedy, you might want to check out Human Nature. This bizarre Charlie Kaufman-penned comedy follows a scientist's attempts to socialize and tame an ape man found in the forest. It's quirky and another movie that won't be for everyone, but it does explore some interesting existential concepts in classic Kaufman fashion. If you'd like another weird nature-based film with impressive cinematography, you should check out In the Earth. This strange psychological horror feels like something A24 would usually pick up. It's dark, it's unsettling and weird, but it's also strangely beautiful. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Sasquatch Sunset? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what other cryptid species would you like to see a nature documentary about? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe if you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.